The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosensia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the mikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Boris Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms and the mikewagnershow.com. Check us out on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartradio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, and more. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast, T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, a lot more. Makes great gifts 24/7. Also, for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/me and Mosensia. Check out this great lineup of merchandise, including T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and also Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Amazon.com/me and Mosensia. Don't forget to support us on Anchor FM as well as PayPal and the mikewagnershow.com. Make sure you donate generously today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's originally from Alaska, now living in beautiful sunny Florida. He's an entrepreneur, comedian, writer, and filmmaker. And he also served in the U.S. Army as a paratrooper with missions in Somalia, Haiti, and Cuba. He's also known for a quirky film called Unscripted Life in 2020, which downloaded 500,000 in its first 3 months release, and also introduced a new character in a new book called Aztec Warrior God, Chapter 1, Emergence. We're going to talk about that. And of course, what's this, going to mean as well, too? What message does it send? We'll find out just 1 minute. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios, somewhere in beautiful Florida. And he also speaks Spanish, too, by the way. Maybe he'll just throw a little bit, study theoretical physics, and the lead vocalist, guitarist of Bang Bang Theory. Ladies and gentlemen, the very multi-talented David Towner. David, good morning, good afternoon.
Thank you, Mike, man. Thank you for having me, bud.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you've got one heck of a... I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. Originally,
we get one lifetime. I figure you got to maximize it, do as much as you can, experience as much as you can, and some stuff will work, some stuff won't. But the memories you have that succeeded, and even sometimes the lessons you learn from your failures will make you a better person in the long run. So I kind of stay active. I try to always live my life that way.
And that's certainly amazing, too. So you're originally from Alaska. You're an entrepreneur, comedian, writer, filmmaker. You served in the U.S. Army as a paratrooper with missions in Somalia, Haiti, and Cuba. And you also have been in a quirky film, Our Scripted Life, back in 2020. And you also introduced a character in your new book, Aztec Warrior God. We'll talk about that. And you also speak Spanish as well, studied theoretical physics, and also lead vocalist and guitarist for the Bang Bang Theory and more. And before getting to all that, David, tell us how I first got started.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So I've always had a fascination for the film industry and entertainment in general. And as a kid, I had the opportunity to perform, do a lot of theater, went through high school, did some stage plays, and along the way had the opportunity to do some small bits on TV shows and even a feature film. And that's what I actually fell in love with, was feature films. And I love the process of filmmaking, watching all the minutia, all the 6, 8, 10 weeks of work go into a 1.5 hour masterpiece. And I fell in love with that. So while little after high school, I joined the military, and I learned the screenwriting craft while I was on active duty. So, most people watch movies about the military and you think, oh my God, it's just nonstop. And the reality is 90% of the time, even in a combat zone, it's pretty boring. We would do 12-hour patrols, 12 hours off, and sometimes 12-hour patrols and 3 days off. Just depends on what the climate, what's going on. So I took the time, read a lot of books back then in the 90s. There was no YouTube. There was no tutorials online. We didn't even have Wi-Fi access or cell phones. So I read books and I learned the proper formatting of a screenplay, structure, formatting, all the basics you need to know, and had the opportunity to start writing scripts and exited the military with a handful of pretty good material and a sketch comedy series I had created, and that's where Our Scripted Life, the feature film, came from. And it was basically a collage of different sketch ideas based on these hillbilly characters I created. And one of them is who I play, Roscoe Turner. That's kind of my comedic gig too, as I do some videos as Roscoe, and he's a know-it-all who knows nothing, but he thinks he's got it figured out. And then what happened was I had this idea in 2009 for an indigenous themed, initially a screenplay. And what happened was I started writing it, and it was based on, the catalyst of the story was Aztec mythology, which I had recently been introduced to on a trip to Mexico. And I used that as a foundation of the story. And then I also used a philosopher prophecy, I guess you'd say, by Crazy Horse. And in his prophecy, he said he predicted a time in 7 generations in which all red people will unite. So I combined the Aztec mythology combined with his prophecy and created this story where all indigenous people unite in 2021, which would be exactly as he predicted, the 7th generation, and would also be the 500th anniversary of the fall of the Aztec Empire. So 12 years later, we'll say 10 years later, time became of the essence, because I had these stories written, but I realized after 600 pages, it's not going to be a screenplay. It has to be episodic. So I did some research and discovered that a really good platform would be a graphic novel. But I knew nothing about graphic novels. My formal independent education had been in screenwriting. So I reached out to a lot of people and tested out some artists that had experiences in comics and graphic novels, and couldn't find anybody. And it was really essential to me that I had Mexican artists, because one, the learning curve would be better because they would be already familiar with the Aztec culture, most likely. And two, I thought it was important that cultures be represented by, people that have a genetic heritage or genetic link to that culture. Not to say that you can't write characters that don't match your exact identity, but I think it's important in a project that you have at least, majority representation. So what I did was I got really lucky, because it was essential that my book released, the first chapter, Emergence, released on the 500th anniversary to match the entire story I had already created over 12 years. And I got lucky, and I found these two, his brother-sister art team in Mexico, in Guanajuato. And they put this together for me. I mean, I gave them the story. They understood formatting. And in 10 months, they actually illustrated my entire first novel. So that was the start of it. It became extremely popular. I mean, it blew up. In fact, when we started May of 2020 illustrating, actually it was June last year, they sent me the lead character, Amashli. They sent me his initial, I think it was a full face profile. I put it on a Facebook page, and I hadn't even had a Facebook page before. And I think it was on a Wednesday. I checked back on Monday to see if anybody had liked the picture, and we already had 50,000 fans. So the project's been getting that level of attention the whole way. And chapter 1 sold 7 figures copies. I don't know the exact number, but chapter 2 we're releasing November 12th. We just put it up for pre-order, and it's already blowing away already. So we're really, really happy, really grateful for the support. And at the same time, it's going to enable us to continue with it and move to that next level where we're looking for, video gaming, merchandising, and potential film and TV licensing.
Mm-hmm. And how many chapters do you plan on?
Well, I hope to do it until I'm on my deathbed. So, but right now,
I'm not dead yet.
Right now we're in a pretty good position where I have 6 years of stories because we're releasing one every 3 months. So it'll be 4 per year, and those will all be compiled as a compilation series. So there'll be 6 compilation series, but with 24 different chapters, and we're calling them chapters, but the reality, each one's a standalone novel. So we have 24, so that'll take us for the next 6 years. And of course, things will change. In fact, I'm changing chapter 3 a little bit to be more contemporary because I think I wrote that in 2011. It's called Sisterhood, and it's about a villain that's using sex trafficking and human trafficking as a source of income, and our heroes don't like that very much, so they're going to put it into that. So yes, that's a little more contemporary topic than I had back then. So so it'll be tweaked a lot, but as of now, I got enough content for 6 years of stories. But my objective is with the popularity of it and the I think the timeliness of it, I think we got a long-term project on our hands.
And it sounds like it too. And we'll talk about one of your characters you'll introduce as well too, and the messages you convey. We'll talk about in just 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the mikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-winning author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms and the mikewagnershow.com. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast or the mikewagnershow.com. And for more great gift ideas, check out the Amazon.com Me in Motion Zia store for great books like Missing, Once and Wrinkles, plus t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and a lot more. Amazon.com/Me in Motion Zia. And also, don't forget to support us on Anchor FM, also on PayPal and the mikewagnershow.com. Make sure you give generously today. We're here with the multi-talented author of Aztec Warrior God, Chapter 1 Emergence, with Chapter 2, 3 in the works. Also entrepreneur, comedian, writer, and filmmaker David Towner here on the Mike Wagner Show. And you'll have a very significant character. We'll talk more about the book. It is Roscoe Turner. And tell us more about him.
Well, Roscoe Turner is a comedic character that evolved from the sketch series that I created early on, and I wanted to build. This is related to Our Scripted Life. So I wanted to build the character not as a standalone, and I do some standalone comic stuff with him, but I wanted to create him in more of an ensemble cast because I had the great fortune of moving from Alaska to Kentucky, and it was kind of an eye-opening scene. And I was pretty intrigued by some of the people I met, and a lot of them are represented in this film. So, Our Scripted Life, that's a film we released it May 2020. We shot that thing in 17 days with a lot of local talent in Ohio. And so Roscoe Turner is kind of the catalyst for the story, but at the same time, an ensemble character. But I do some on my Facebook page. You can see some of the goofy skits I do with him, and he's a guy with a really pronounced overbite, and it's a crazy thing. And hopefully, when things things lighten up a little bit more, I plan to go out and do some live shows as Roscoe is kind of like a I guess you could say like a Pee Wee Herman to Paul Rubens, a character that or a better one would be Dan Whitney's what's his name? The God, I can't remember his name. Dan Whitney does this character, this hillbilly character, and I can't remember his name, but he's super popular for many, many years. And Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy.
Get her done.
Yeah. So that's actually a Dan Whitney character, and if you meet Dan Whitney, he's not like that at all. And that happens to me too when people are really confused. They look at the videos and say, but who's that guy? And I'm like, well, no, that's me. And we did a film festival, and the guy was interviewing me as the director and writer, and he's like, well, that guy with the shotgun, he was a good character. He was funny. And I said, yeah, that was me. And he goes, yeah. But that guy with the shotgun, and he couldn't make the connection that was actually me. And another similar situation in the film is my buddy Pat Germano played two characters. He plays a sidekick of the lead character. His name's Jake. And then he plays a character named Andy, but he also plays a transvestite stripper who is also Roscoe's girlfriend. And there is no possible way people would know it's the same guy. It's an incredible, and again, it's just a goofy, low budget film, but we had a lot of fun making it. And people, it's not $500 million Hollywood budget, but I think the content's pretty great. People seem to agree. We had 500,000 downloads in the first 3 months after it was released in May.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, you do lead a so-called scripted life, very impromptu. And not only all that, you also speak some Spanish. You also studied theoretical physics and also lead vocalist guitars for the group Bang Bang Theory. But first, how'd you get interested in speaking Spanish? Maybe you want to just rattle out some phrases. I haven't attempted as of yet. I gotta get the Rosetta Stone stuff. So
okay. Well, yo hablo español un poco, pero el problema para mí es cuando estoy hablando con otro no entiendo todo. And what that means is I speak Spanish pretty well, but at the end of the day, I get lost in conversation because the way I learned was I was self-taught. So I never had interaction. And, of course, today I do. I live in South Florida. I speak Spanish all the time. But the reality is the way I learned was through reading and learning proper pronunciation. But I didn't get accustomed to hearing the language. And so that was a shortfall for me. So, yeah, pretty much anything I need to say in Spanish, I say well. I get complimented on my accent and everything, but my hang up still is a little bit, so not always, but sometimes when I'm speaking about specific topics that I haven't spoken before, that can happen where I get hung up on a certain word or a phrase. And then of course, once that happens, then it's all over. You got to ask people to stop and explain. So yeah, I believe, and I learned, I took the opportunity because I was stationed in Cuba. And we had some day workers that worked there, and we also had some Puerto Rican and Mexican Americans in my unit. And I thought, downtime to me, idle time is ridiculous. I'll rest when I'm dead. I just love learning, and that's another thing. A lot of people say write what you know. I'm the opposite. I want to write what I don't know because I want to go out and learn things. I knew nothing about Aztecs. I knew nothing about Aztec theology. I knew nothing of this until I decided I want to write the story and became intrigued by it. So I went out and learned. And I think today my knowledge of the culture, the knowledge of their language, Nahuatl, all of that, I speak some Nahuatl, and it's a commitment to it because the reality is nobody else is doing it. And unless somebody takes an interest and preserves a culture and creates stories like this, then they're going to be forgotten, much like the Aztecs are in most of the world. So we're educating a lot of people. The story itself, the entire series is based in, fiction, but the reality is we pepper in a lot of accurate history with the story. So I want it to be entertaining, but at the same time, have little nuggets of knowledge that enlighten people too about what the culture really was. And the culture has a very dark legacy. Most people know the Aztecs from their violence. They cut people's heads off, they cut people's hearts out, they practice human sacrifice. And that is true. And we acknowledge that legacy in chapter 1. But at the same time, what people don't know is that they were one of the most progressive societies on earth. They existed simultaneously with London, England, and they were larger than London, England, more progressive than London, England. Women could own businesses in the Aztec Empire. Women could be teachers. They could be a stay-at-home mom if they want. They could be warriors. So, and it's also a female-centric series because I wanted to depict that people have this one, single chapter version in their head of what Aztecs were, these brutal savages, but they were a very, very advanced society. I mean, a lot of the agricultural methods that they used were the best on earth. They built their entire capital city in the middle of a lake. And I mean, they had aqueduct systems. They were the first ever documented zoo in history. They had they had an arts council that would do public concerts and public plays. I mean, it's incredible. And so that's another thing we want to educate people too. We don't deny the past, the dark culture of the past, but at the same time, we try to accent, that stuff's been done. People have seen and heard about the Aztecs, human sacrifices and heads rolling down the pyramids. That's been done. I mean, we don't want to revisit that stale storyline, but we're trying to show the positive side, but at the same time, also create an entire series of characters that, what happens was Huitzilopochtli, who is the god of war, intervenes in the final battle with the Spanish and the other indigenous tribes that they were fighting. And he says, this is enough. This is not the way, as a god, you manifested my existence to justify your violence. And I'm no longer going to tolerate that. I'm going to put an end to it. So he summons the power of the sun, obliterates the battlefield, and withdraws the remaining Aztecs into the underworld. And he gives them this mission that you need to spend the next 500 years becoming educated, learning compassion, learning diplomacy. So our characters emerge in 500 years, and ironically and quite coincidentally, they emerge during a Lasso Virus pandemic, and that's their first conflict is to solve this pandemic. Now, I wrote this in 2009, so timeline, people do think I created it for COVID, but there was no time. Believe me, this story existed 12 years ago. It's just coincidence that they emerged because Crazy Horse had said the seventh generation, when we emerge and we unite to help the world, his specific words were, it will be a blessing for a sick world. So I took that literally to mean the world was sick. And that's why I created the pandemic storyline. But our characters, their first conflict is with this guy that's actually a Russian oligarch. Again, more contemporary stuff that in 2009, people couldn't understand why I was writing about a Russian oligarch. But the reality is the Russian oligarchs are the only criminals in the world that have the backing of a state power. And it makes them pretty powerful and pretty dangerous people. You get psychopaths with multi-billion dollars in resources, and things can happen. So in our story, chapter 1, what happens is that they emerge with the looking for opportunities, to make the world a better place, and they emerge at the time of the pandemic, and they determine that for some reason nobody can get a grip on the virus. They can't create a vaccine. And they determined that for some reason, this one guy, Adrian Volkov, seems to have a corner market on the vaccine. In fact, he's selling it to the highest bidder. So he's going to Saudi Arabia, $1,100 a dose, that kind of thing. Wow. And they approach him and say, we understand you're a businessman. We get that, but we want to work with you to get the pricing down. And he laughs at him and basically says, I don't want the pricing down. This is a business for me. And they dig a little further, determine not only is he the only one that can make the vaccine, they determine it's because he's the one creating the virus in a laboratory and creating these variants that make it impossible to create an effective vaccine. So, of course, they tried diplomacy because that's the nature of our characters, diplomacy and intellectual solutions before violence. But like any good comic book, at the end of the day, something's got to get broken, and the guy doesn't comply, and he becomes a running character. Adrian Volkov is kind of our Lex Luthor to Superman. He's kind of our villain to our superhero characters.
Oh, that's rather interesting. And you talk about the group of Russians that is, have the backing of state, psychopaths, and everything. Is that similar to a mafia?
Yeah. So the Russian oligarchs are people who I'd say they're each individual oligarch's not as organized as a mafia. There's not much of a rank structure, but oligarchs are people who align themselves with, at this point, primarily Vladimir Putin. People who who through whatever means, whether it's child friendship, whether they grew up together, or whether they just become ingratiated to them later in life, they are people that have been empowered by Russia through shams like government contracts. These people there's hundreds of them. They're billionaires. And they're billionaires on the backs of the taxpayers of Russia. And when you get people, they're pretty ruthless. I mean, they're engaged in stuff like sex trafficking, manufacturing of fentanyl. These are guys that have no soul. And at the same time, they have the protection and resources from a massive government like Russia. And it's pretty scary stuff. And now you hear about them here in the media the past few years. But prior to that, people didn't really understand what was happening and why these people had such large power. But yeah, many of them do have criminal organizations. But it's not similar to a mafia because, mafias have a rank structure and they're kind of handed down from generation to generation. Oligarchs are really kind of a contemporary problem. And I think they're going to become, all this hacking that you're seeing, all these massive hacking scams and, extorting banks and other companies out of millions of dollars. Those are originating in Russia primarily. All the spying that's going on, the drug manufacturing, a lot of, illegal prostitution, human trafficking, big time fentanyl manufacturers as well. And even in the situation where they're not manufacturing, they're helping to facilitate the distribution of it. It is a major problem. And I've researched it pretty thoroughly and learned some of the players in there. But again, when you got a guy like Vladimir Putin who basically is a lifetime appointee, there's not going to be a fair election as long as he's alive. It's not going to change. In fact, the problem is getting worse and worse. And of course, the State Department, the federal law enforcement agencies know about it, but the average person on the street has no idea how dangerous these people are.
Mm-hmm. And of course, getting back to the whole thing with the Lasso Virus pandemic, and maybe you can describe what the Lasso Virus is and how similar or how different is it compared to the current COVID?
Well, it actually is a little bit similar. It is an animal-borne virus that originated in Africa. Little different from the origin, but I actually was in Africa. I served in Somalia, and I've been to Haiti. I've been to Djibouti, Ethiopia, Sudan, Kenya, South Africa. And while I was there, we were always worried about Ebola, but I also learned of the other viruses. And the Lassa virus, the reason I chose that is because it's an animal-borne disease, and it is very similar to. It's not a respiratory issue like SARS-CoV-2, but it is animal-borne, rapidly transmitted to other people, and it's actually a serious threat. It's not a fictional virus that I just made up. It's actually a real life threat that continues to be a problem today. And again, hoping people, hopefully people, well, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't taking pandemic seriously, but I think the next great extinction event of humans will be the people that deny. We're in a really great position now, as especially Americans in 2021. We have never seen an extinction event. We're so prosperous. I think prosperity is our weakness, and because people can't visualize it, and most of the people alive today didn't see the origins of polio. I think because we're in that situation, we have so many deniers and so many people that don't take it seriously. And honestly, I think that's going to be the calling of the week. Is going to be, if not COVID, it'll be another similar virus that people don't take seriously.
Mm-hmm. And of course, with the message on the book as well, too, we encourage people to take seriously in the book, Aztec Warrior God, Chapter 1, Emergence. What's the message you want everyone to get out of the book?
Well, the primary underlying thing of the whole book is the commonality of mankind. I referenced that as Crazy Horse referenced it, the red tribes, but the reality is the goal in the book is unity of all mankind, to come together as indigenous people, but also to serve as a kind of a resource and a guide and a counsel to all people worldwide to see, hey, if we can unite like this, then you can too, and to also show, human beings have 99.9% in common, and that 1/10 of a difference is what really people tend to focus on. And it's pretty sad, because if you meet people from other cultures, and that's a big thing I've done my whole life, is I've always been fascinated by other countries, other cultures, other languages, try to learn as much as I can about them. And I think we need, to stop being so homogenous, especially in America and Europe. We just get so focused on our own worlds that we don't see what's beyond us, and it makes us less compassionate. You see these people that are coming up from Central America trying to get to the United States. Yeah, I think, well, everybody says they should come legally, but the reality is there is no legal way, and people, it's scary to see the lack of compassion for them. Imagine you have a 2-year-old daughter, and she has no choice. She's probably going to be sold into sex slavery or starve to death, or be a victim of violence when she grows up. I mean, and you're so desperate that you will walk thousands of miles with nothing. You give up everything you've ever known. How do people not have compassion for somebody that would make that sacrifice? And it's scary to me to see the hatred and the language people use against people like that. So they have no ability to empathize, and it's kind of scary to me. So I'm hoping our series, people that read it, we got a lot of readers from all walks of life. So I'm hoping people will absorb the message. It is entertaining, but at the same time, we have underlying messages of tolerance and compassion and being less focused on ourselves and focus on service to others and at least compassion for others.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important as well, too. A terrific message you're saying out, David. And where can we find the book at?
Okay, so all the digital versions are on Amazon, Apple Books, Kobo, Tolino, all the major book resellers. The physical, the paperbacks, can be bought on our website, which is aztecwarriorgod.com. And then we're still working with distributors to get that book global, but paperbacks are only available to ship in the U.S. and Canada.
That's so amazing. And what's coming up for author David Towner of Aztec Warrior God? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at the mikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia Missing, available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. We'll be back with the author of Aztec Warrior God, Chapter 1 Emergence, David Towner, after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to the Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with the amazing author of Aztec Warrior God, Chapter 1 Emergence, and also entrepreneur, comedian, writer, and filmmaker David Towner here on the Mike Wagner Show. And David, you just gave us a really good smorgasbord to what's been happening in Aztec Warrior God. Looking forward to a great book. And there's a couple of things I think we didn't touch on. We have a few minutes, and you studied the theoretical physics, and I don't think we touched on that. Maybe just tell us a bit about it. You spent all the time with books, but theoretical physics, it's like, we got to hear this.
Well, my only degrees are in marketing and criminal justice, and those were really a means to an end. But I've always been fascinated by different topics and different academic subjects. So I I studied Spanish independently, but I also thought, while I'm in the Army, I get free college. So I decided to start pursuing other, and often I would be kind of distracted by, I want to take a physics course, I want to take a language course, I want to take an arts course. But I really fell in love with physics and trying to understand the world around us, whether it's at a molecular level, and how does mathematics explain things that we know today? How can they explain answers that we don't have yet? Like, where does the universe end? And this was actually, I saw Stephen Hawking speak, and I became absolutely enamored by the whole topic itself. So I spent 2 years. I don't have a degree in it, but that's kind of how I roll. I'll go, my goal is to be master of nothing and jack of all trades, but master of nothing. And so I will, it's not uncommon for me. I studied Russian for a while. I studied German. I studied some Hindi. I'm always jumping around, but physics is something I stuck with for a long time because it's essential. Physics is the foundation of our whole existence. The foundation of the existence of the universe is explained through physics. And there's still so much we don't know. And I'll never be the guy that figures out these things, but to understand when I see a physicist like Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining something, I have probably a better understanding of it than most lay people will. So I'm really grateful that I did that, because also, again, all of these things are exploring the world beyond me. And I hope, and I wish that more people would be like that, not be so focused on their own ego and their own personal gain and personal world.
Mm-hmm. And that's very true as well, too. Your love of physics led you to be a lead singer and guitarist for the Bang Bang Theory. And tell us about that.
That's actually right. Yeah. So Bang Bang is a code word for intimate relationships. And obviously, people know what the Big Bang Theory is, but this is going back. Actually, I don't have it. Yeah, exactly. So what happened was, I came up with the Bang Bang Theory, and that was our band. But I actually don't have the band anymore. But that band led to me meeting my wife, who was a model and actress. And what happened was, one day I was outside of a mall and I had a guitar pick in my hand, and I just started chewing on it. And she approached me and said, "Are you in a band?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, sort of, but now I'm kind of independent." And then we started talking. And from that moment forward, we actually have never spent, other than business travel, never spent a minute apart. And that was 2000. That was actually 04. We met April 4th, 2004. And then we got married on 11/11/11. And then, soon after that, having a band was great. I probably couldn't even play 3 or 4 chords on the guitar now, but great times, man. I love music too. It's another thing. One of my other endeavors, in addition to physics, was taking guitar lessons at age 30 and trying to master that. And I did. I always was a decent singer, I guess, but, and I could play a lot of rhythm guitar, but obviously a band is, the sum of the parts, and we had some really great guys working with us back then. And, but yeah, we don't do that anymore. I'm 51 now with 4-year-old triplets. So life's a little different, but yeah, that was a good period of my life.
And it sounds like you led an amazing life as well too, David. And what can we expect from you in 2022 and beyond, David?
Well, fortunately, the Aztec Warrior God series is really blowing up and occupying most of my time. And it's really fortunate, too, and this kind of all worked out timing-wise, that this is something we can do during a pandemic. I don't need to be out in the public. I don't need to be in large groups. I work virtually with our illustrators. I send them, we're back and forth digitally. I get files every day from them. And luckily, we're in a real good position where we can keep trucking with this thing and stick on track. Now, we do have an event coming up in February, which is a red carpet event in Los Angeles. And we're hoping all things are good with that. And the purpose of that event is to find new artists, illustrators, digital artists, not necessarily to create page art, which we're open to, but Carla and Diego, are keeping up with the volume there, but we're looking for people to help create T-shirts, merchandising, web assets, stuff like that. So we're going to hold a contest in we're going to start the contest, I think, December. And then what we'll do is we'll invite the top artist out to our event in Los Angeles, where we're going to have a red carpet and a banquet out there and some Aztec dancers. It's going to be really cool.
Wow.
that's on our website too. People can get tickets to it. It's going to be a first-class event, red carpet, five-course dinner, a lot of great entertainment, and so the public can get tickets to that. I think luckily they just opened it up to 100 more people, so they're getting a little less restrictive out there. We were trying to do that thing in November, but it just didn't work out with the restrictions, and our artists couldn't come in from Mexico. We got some Bollywood actors coming in from India, and they couldn't make the trip, so we thought it would be better to hold off till February. So we're looking just every 3 months to produce a new novel, and then I got a couple screenplays I'm hoping to shoot. Unfortunately, one of them needs to be shot in Haiti, and that's a pretty unstable environment right now. So we're hoping things calm down there too a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And we're certainly looking forward to that as well, David. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Wow, God, that's so hard. There are some. I have to almost go by genre, but I would say, if I had to pick the people I admire the most for the body of work they have, I got to say the Coen brothers, directors and writers. I mean, my favorite movie of all time is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, I love that movie. It's great.
Not only, it is. It's amazing. And I actually had the opportunity to have this conversation with Nick Clooney, George Clooney's dad. And he said Citizen Kane, and I said, how about your son's film? He goes, you know what? He said, I'm right there with you. And this was a time that the film hadn't been out very long, and so not only did they create an amazing story with amazing. I mean, the visuals in that film are incredible, but they adapted a book, and I really admire people. I generally give more credit to original screenplays, but when you adapt one and you make it your own like that, it is. I mean, they parallel these characters. So generally, I'm kind of a snob when I say that. That adapted screenplays are easier to write because you have the source material. But I don't think so in this case. I think they took each element of the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, that's where they extracted the material, took each element of it and recreated it. So not only was it difficult to do, they had an obligation to enhance each individual element and not just the whole storyline. So if you watch the movie and you know the story, you're blown away by it. So I think that obviously Kubrick, a great director too. Cameron Crowe. I mean, I tend to admire filmmakers, writers, directors, but mostly directors. But most of the ones I admire are writers and directors as well.
Oh, that's so amazing. That is so fantastic. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
You know what? I think I actually, honestly, I'm doing another show very similar that's based on the topic of how do you pursue your dreams. And my advice is this: I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid, and you have to start early. You can't I actually met a guy recently, and he has a similar aspiration. He's about my age, and he wants to be a writer. And I'm like, dude, just do it, man. But everybody the Western world gets in your way with, I have to have a job. You can do both simultaneously. Another thing about me is I don't drink alcohol. I don't party. I don't golf. I don't do any of that. To me, that stuff, I don't want to discredit other people, but if you have a dream, that stuff is nonsense. That stuff is noise. That stuff's a distraction. People that paint their faces and go to NFL games, that's fine if you want to do that. But if you also have a dream that you're putting on the back burner because of that stuff, it's foolish. So anybody can achieve anything they want. It's just a matter of setting aside the time and prioritizing it and doing it. So I'm in a real good position now. I came up with a calculated, realistic plan of, hey, by the age of 55, I'm going to transition full time. We still have a portfolio of businesses. I run them, but I spend a lot more time now. I used to spend zero time pursuing this dream. Then every year it gets a little more where the businesses are the secondary. The entertainment stuff is the priority. And that's where I am. And I think every single person, if they want to, they'll listen to their own negativity and I can't do that. That's for this person, or that's for the elite. That's for somebody with $1 billion. It's not, man. And specifically speaking with the entertainment world, the business needs new voices. The business doesn't need the same screenwriter that's been writing everything since the 1980s. It's hard to penetrate. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to find. But if you create something like I did independently, you can do it for not a lot of money. I mean, you can do what we're doing for $5,000. If you want to just do a short run of a comic book, you write it, and find some friends to illustrate it or people that are like-minded like you. Same with film, my first 5 films had no budget. I mean, literally friends and I getting together, and some of them did really, really well. We shot a TV pilot once called Posers, and it won the Comedy Central TV pilot contest.
Wow,
and
amazing.
the quality was horrible, but the content was great. and we had a single chip camera, no microphone, and no lighting. But the content was so great. Again, attributed to my buddy Pat Germano, because he's a brilliant comedic actor. So, you can do it, and you don't have to do it if you want to be a professional bowler. Well, you don't have to bowl 300 the day you start. You have to go out, but you have to go bowl. You have to go once a week or twice a week and perfect your game. Whatever it is, you got to start small, and you can find time to do that.
And that's a really good, important point. I love that, David. You hit it on the head. Once again, author David Towner, also entrepreneur, comedian, writer, filmmaker of Aztec Warrior God, Chapter 1 Emergence on the Mike Wagner Show. David, a very big thank you for your time. You've been totally amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date, keep in touch, and looking forward to having you on back as well, too. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
Yeah, for the Aztec Warrior God, our Facebook page is probably the best, because it's a platform that enables us to tell the whole story and show what we're up to. So it's at Aztec Warrior God, and then aztecwarriorgod.com is our website. But Facebook page is more comprehensive. We always post our links on there to when books are released and our new artwork and stuff there. It's our platform where we're almost 2 million followers now on that one alone.
Amazing. We're looking forward to it. Once again, David, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back in 2022 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch, and we wish you all the best. You've been absolutely terrific. A great future ahead of you.
Likewise, Mike. Thanks so much.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing. Available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.